Story 1. Leaving a 2 in for you with random woman me and her toddler. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy. Thanks. So this just happened, and I'm really ticked off about it. My toddler is going through some sort of defiant phase. My husband spent the entire week away with our car, and my mother-in-law, who babysits for us, is on vacation. Needless to say, this week has been challenging. Let's just say that between being a work-from-home mom and having to deal with unexpected events at work, I'm completely worn out. So, I decided to take my daughter out for a long walk with the stroller today, and after we got some fresh air, we stopped at a nearby food court for lunch. While I am gathering our belongings, she is acting very irritable, but I am able to calm her down. A man who appears to be a father of 2 young children sits down next to us and puts his children in high chairs almost bar stool height. Not high chairs designed for children, but rather high chairs designed for adults that do not have straps or even a back. The ages of our daughters are comparable, so he strikes up a brief conversation with me about that. While I'm attempting to feed my child, I overhear him saying something. "All right, gentlemen, take care of each other and the bags while I go grab a cup of coffee," the speaker said to the group. And before you ask, he has already disappeared. I was surprised, very surprised, but it's okay. I can understand a fellow parent being tired and needing a coffee. I bet he'll be back in a minute, right? I was surprised, very surprised, but it's okay. I can understand a fellow parent being tired and needing a coffee. Nope. After another 15 minutes, I have successfully finished my meal while simultaneously attempting to keep my toddler seated and dissuading 2 children whom I have never seen before from jumping down from their bar stools. The older child was pleasant and eager to engage in conversation, but he also made several attempts to leave the room in order to search for his father. Because the younger one is just a toddler herself and is afraid of the height, my daughter goes to jump down on the hard floor every time I turn around to her. The younger one is afraid of the height. I'm losing it. This is not what I require on this particular day. After waiting an additional 15 minutes, or a total of half an hour, the dad finally returns with a cup from Starbucks. The Starbucks is not even located in the food court, rather, it is located at the opposite end of the shopping center. He apologizes to everyone and says, "There was a line," and doesn't even look at me. I have the feeling that I'm about to say something mean. Therefore, all I have to do is grab my food, which is now completely cold, say goodbye to the other children, and leave with my daughter. WTF. Who acts in this manner? What would he do if I just decided to walk away from the situation? If my child started crying, and I had no choice but to leave, what would I do? Because of how crowded the place was, he would never locate his children who were nice enough to tell me they were 2 in for yo. I feel like a gullible idiot for just caring for that idiot's children, but I couldn't live with myself if something happened to them despite the fact that they were not at fault for any of that. I really appreciate you taking the time to read my rant. My daughter has just gone to sleep, and I've been needing to get this out. Story 2. I lied to my boyfriend, and he left me. My boyfriend, who is 22 years old, and I, who am 21 years old, just broke up, and I take full responsibility for it. The online opportunity that brought us together occurred in March of 2022. We did daily texting for the first 3 months of our relationship. During the subsequent 4 months, we continued our daily phone conversations for anywhere between 3 and 5 hours. We had grown to be such good friends and shared a lot of common ground. Since we both run companies in the same field, we had plenty of things in common to discuss with one another. When I first started talking to him, I, unfortunately, lied to him constantly about various insignificant matters. I lied about having business partners, how long I went to school for, how much money I make, and honestly a few other white lies that did not contribute anything positive to the relationship at all. I lied about where I used to live, what car I drove, my business income, and other things like that. We continued to grow closer to one another as time went on. I wanted to pretend the lies didn't exist, but that wasn't an option. We were finally able to meet one another in person, and shortly after that, we moved in together. After living together for a period of 4 months, I can safely say that everything ran smoothly, for the most part. There were good times and bad times for us, but that is to be expected. When he discovered that I had lied about certain things, complications began to emerge in our relationship. The fact that I would sometimes lie to cover up the fact that I had lied in the past would make the situation even more difficult. In addition to this, over the course of time, he would gradually learn the truth about the other lies I had told him. He provided me with several opportunities to come clean about everything, and the majority of the time, I was honest about the significant lies that I had told. On the other hand, there were times when he caught me in the act of lying, and as a result, he reached a point where he could no longer trust me in a genuine sense. The most recent lie I told him that he called me out on was about the car I used to drive. I apologized to him and admit that I lied to him and that I was wrong. When we arrived home later that day, he was visibly upset. Both of us sobbed ourselves to sleep, and the following day he told me he needed some time off to himself. At that point, I realized that the relationship would never be the same, and I had to take full responsibility for it. I committed the most serious error of my entire life. I have absolutely no idea why I acted the way that I did. It was completely incomprehensible, and he advised that I consult with a mental health professional, which I am currently doing. After giving it some thought, he came to the conclusion that it would be best for us to part ways because he was no longer able to trust me. Because of this, he would have to challenge everything I told him, which is not a healthy dynamic. I told him that I wanted to put this matter to rest and take some time to sit down and discuss everything. I didn't realize how much it would hurt him and how much it would affect us, so I wanted to confess all of the lies that I had told and make a solemn promise to myself that I would never do that again. I basically pleaded with him to come back with me and help me defend what we had built together. I assuaged his concerns by assuring him that things would be handled differently this time and by admitting that I had made a mistake that I am ready to let go of. He continued to be under the impression that it was impossible for him to ever trust me again, which is why he decided to call an end to the relationship. I am well aware that this is entirely my fault, but I have no idea what to do about it. We were so good at complimenting each other, but trust was broken between us. Do you believe that there is a possibility that I could win him back and make things right this time? I am prepared to resort to any means necessary in order to win him back. I truly do love him, and I had no intention of causing him any harm. Story 3. Full is ruining our relationship. My boyfriend and I have been together for the past 2 years. We have had a lot of success and are very fond of one another. I hadn't met his mother until later. My previous relationship was very abusive, and as a result, I am responsible for the care of my son, who is now 5 years old. His mother adheres to a strict interpretation of the Catholic faith and looks down on those who do not share her beliefs. Both my boyfriend's sister's boyfriend and I are not members of the Catholic faith. Since August 2022, we have discussed the possibility of getting engaged, and since we hope to have our wedding in December 2023, we have also discussed a possible timeline for the event. Everything was running smoothly until his sister got engaged in October, at which point his mother informed us that we were not allowed to get engaged because it would take away the attention that was being paid to his sister. My boyfriend advised me to hold off on making any decisions until after the holidays, both to give his sister the opportunity to enjoy the season and to avoid upsetting his mother. Phil treats me in a very cruel manner. When I first met her, she questioned me about my faith. I am a Baptist, as well as the romantic relationships that my mother had had in the past for some reason. She was very clear that in order for me to be a part of the family, I needed to convert. It was very clear to everyone that my journey and my business are both based on my faith. But she adores BFSB so much, despite the fact that she is not a practicing Catholic, and was so thrilled about the wedding, and she constantly makes comparisons between the two of us. After the holidays, he got back in touch with his parents and continued their conversation. His father offered the blessing, but his mother sent him a text message listing all of the warning signs that I present, including the fact that I am not Catholic, that I was raised in a blended family, that I went to public school, that I chose teaching as a profession, etc. She let him know that she will be praying for him to make the best choice possible. Take into consideration that I have been nothing but polite to this woman, that I have never raised my voice to her, that I have always treated her with respect, and that I have never done anything that is inappropriate. BF gave me his word that he is free to make his own choices and that she does not control him in any way. On February 23rd, I questioned him about what was going on, thinking that if we were going to get married in December, we ought to get started making preparations for the event. He unloads on me and says that the reason he is still hesitant is because I'm in conflict with his mother. He says this several times. I remind him that I am not to blame in this situation because she is the one who has the problem with all of my apparent warning signs, despite the fact that I continue to treat her with kindness and respect. I am unsure whether this indicates that we are no longer together or whether he is simply giving it more time to settle down. I am saddened and unsure of what to do. If his mother liked me and didn't try to control us, I believe that he would be happier and less hesitant to spend time with me. It's not just him, it's also his mother and life in general. I now realize how naive I was to believe that we shared the same understanding. I feel resentment toward him because he allows his mother to mistreat me and talk trash to me. It makes me angry that she doesn't talk negatively about BFSB the way that she does about me. Simply put, I have no idea what to do next given the current situation. I love him, and so does my son, but I have no idea what I could have possibly done to deserve the way this wicked woman has treated me. I'm not even worthy of being called a person. Thanks for letting me vent.